Number 6 is Jerry and George from Seinfeld. I could have gone with Jerry and Kramer, but I really feel like at the end of the day, how many times did I use that expression? At the end of the day, this relationship was the one that people most associated with. I think people really enjoyed and appreciated and got a kick out of the Jerry and Kramer relationship. But the friendship between George and Jerry, I think a lot of people related to. They could see themselves in that role. I think most people probably imagine themselves as Jerry and said, hey, I have a loser friend like George. I mean, I know I do. I think that, it was a very real relationship. And again, I think the outrageousness of Kramer was permittable because of the fact that they had such a realistic relationship with Jerry and George. And again, you could tell that they truly cared about each other. And in fact, they were mistaken for a homosexual couple before. And number 5 is Sawyer and Hurley. I could have gone with a lot of relationships as far as Lost goes. I could have gone with Jin and Michael. I could have gone with Jack and Sawyer. I could have gone with Hurley and Charlie. There are a few different ways I could have gone. I was especially tempted to go with Jin and Michael, a friendship I absolutely love. But ultimately I went with Sawyer and Hurley, which is a bit surprising, I guess, since they really only came into the limelight last season, and it was a shortened season, no less. Even so, I think they really hit the nail on the head of two guys who are complete opposites of each other, who constantly pick on each other, but again, you could tell they really do care about one another. That was especially true later on in the season where Sawyer would become especially protective of Hurley. You could tell that these two really did grow to appreciate each other, and I personally think many of the highlights of that season was the humorous interactions between these two characters, and I just love the fact that they became roommates when they were staying in the barracks. And number 4, of course, is Alan and Denny from Boston Legal. I mean, these two have sleepovers. They are perhaps the perfect example of a bromance. They constantly are affectionate with each other. They dance with each other. They hug each other. They make jokes. They dress up as pink flamingos during Halloween. The entire series is really based on this friendship. The pretext, I guess, is it's a legal drama, but really, the episodes are based around Denny and Alan. Each episode ends with the two of them having a scotch and cigar outside on the balcony, and really, again, relationship very affectionate, very loving. How could you leave these guys off the list? You can't. Number 3 is Joey and Chandler from Friends. Again, you had a series that was based entirely on friends, 6 people who were best friends with one another. Yet this one friendship was singled out as something entirely special. Anytime something happened, either Monica and Chandler getting married, or Monica and Chandler moving away, they always had to be sure to let us know how this is going to impact the friendship between Chandler and Joey. So even when the series as a whole focused on friends, these two, I think, really set themselves apart, and I think they did a fantastic job of showing us that, even when, that brief idiotic period where Chandler was living in Omaha or something like that, he would come home and it would almost be expected that he might have to hang out with Joey instead of his wife, and I don't think that's very usual. It might be usual, I don't know. But I thought that one particular friendship really definitely stuck out as the most special one between any of the 6 characters. Number 2, and this might surprise you, is House and Wilson. From House, of course. I think most people will say, isn't this the relationship that brought bromance? into prominence, and yet it's not at number one. That's surprising. And the reason why I'm not going to give it number one, and I am going to give number one to the number one relationship, is because I think this series could still survive without the Wilson house dynamic. I think ultimately you have an interesting enough concept, you have interesting enough characters that the show could still work. I think absolutely the highlight of the show is House and Wilson, but at the end of the day, I think, again, at the end of the day, the relationship still works. The show still works without the relationship. Whereas, number one, Sean and Gus from Psych. That's a show most people here probably don't watch. It's on the USA Network, so it's not entirely popular. But these two just have such real and humorous chemistry with one another. They bounce off each other so realistically. It seems completely improv. It doesn't at all seem like you're listening to two characters recite a script. It's completely realistic. These two are just absolutely hilarious together, from their way to speak to each other, to their gestures, to their signals, to the fact that they're both absolute, scared little girls in any situation that's dangerous. This show would not work without Sean and Gus. Obviously, since they're the two lead characters, but I really don't think the series would be successful if there was any two actors in that role. I think it's definitely one of those cases where, like Seinfeld, you can't simply replace an actor with somebody else. It just wouldn't work. And I think that, surprisingly, is your number one romance on TV right now. Again, I probably missed some. It's all dependent on what shows you watch and what shows you don't watch. But I think it's my list, and that's what I'm going with. Have a nice day. Best wishes.